YouTube. I tried to record this video almost 2 weeks ago, but I didn't like it how I filmed it, so here I'm trying again. And the funny thing is, that's my knee, by the way. I have my camera on a tripod, my phone on a tripod on my chair with my sketchbook on the floor for this. This is not the ideal setup. But the point of this is school starts at the end of the month, and I did not review the artwork I did during school last year. I had a drawing and design class for my junior year of high school, and I completely neglected to show it off to all of you. So I'm gonna do that now, and it's gonna be a doozy because I have a lot of story ideas in here, and I'm gonna stop and talk about them a lot. So first off, you can see I actually used my Art 2 journal because I didn't fill it up completely. I have a pink tab up on the top. And what I do is I can flip through, and here it's just, here's a pocket. This is, every year since the year I was born, I had to do 10 facts. This was a setup for a later assignment. I went through and did that. This was the art criticism worksheet. Every time we did an art critique, we had to do a whole thing, including all this. And this, if I can pull it out, what's this? I think this is my matrix chart. Yeah, we had to do a matrix chart of the different principles and elements of art. So across the top here is variety, balance, emphasis, rhythm, proportion, movement, and to the side here is line, shape, form, color / value, texture, and space. It's actually supposed to go like this. And that was to improve our concept of all of the, I'm trying to mess with the lighting, all of the, well, the elements and the principles. Supposed to use them together, and that would help us learn it better. And what's this? This was a printout I had to copy into my sketchbook. Now this is the first visual journal. The first 10-ish visual journals were based on the different principles, elements, and principles of art. This was line. And I didn't actually, this is the original one I did. I actually went over and covered it up with this, because partway through these assignments I'm like, oh, I should find a quote where the element or whatever is listed, is said, and like incorporate that in it. So for line, there's a fine line between genius and crazy. I like to use that line as a jump rope. Edgy, but cute, I guess. This was shape. You can see it's written up here, shape, form, freeform, and geometry and stuff. And it was using negative space and whatnot. This turns out really cool. The background's watercolor, and then there's black tempera on top. The 17 years I've been alive, I had to make a picture for all of the events I found. So, like you can tell at the beginning, I kind of didn't know what I was doing. But you're supposed to be able to reference this and figure out, like, certain things. Like this DNA thing is because some human genome project is completed in 2003. And it looks like a rocket because the Columbus Space Shuttle disaster happened there. Let's see. 2000, like, that's 2005 YouTube, so there's a bunch of screens. 8 in 2008. I don't know what's supposed to be really referenced here. 2009 looks like Bitcoin was created. There's a Bitcoin right there. 2010 was a big movie year, so I did that. 2011. There's the E. coli breaks out, and then there is 2012. There is a Malala was shot, and pretty sure there was probably other yeah, that was the main thing. Malala was shot. 2014 game. No, What is this? I don't know. I think that 2015 was. Yes. Gay marriage was legalized in the U.S. In 2009, this is the president's emblem because Barack Obama became the first black president. And it's done in a drag style because I believe that's when RuPaul aired. 2016 was Pulse. 2008 was Pulse, and then Trump's election. 18, that must have been Ebola, if that's what this skull and crossbones is supposed to be. Yeah. But yeah, I didn't care much for it. It just ended up being eye practice for me. 10 words about me, and find 10 words, draw something about it. Intelligent, creative, passionate, quirky, integrity, determined, loving, personable, mature, and virtuous. It's actually funny because when I showed my bus driver this, we've been longtime friends since I was little. She knows my family. She was like, "Oh, I'm so happy you're finally using happy words to describe yourself." I'm like, "Oh, Miss Cooksey, you're breaking my heart." This was color. This was done in acrylics, and this was really pretty. This is when I guess I started my use of quote for it. Texture was this, so. Oh no! I peeled it off. Oh no. Hot glue, paper, written texture. The imagination is of so delicate a texture that even words wound it. This was rhythm, pattern, and movement, and I really couldn't find a quote that said all three, so it just kind of vibed. I made a speed paint out of this. The word happiness would lose its meaning if it were not balanced by sadness. Obviously that's for the principle of balance. I like doing my little, what do you call this? Ribbon texture. This is proportion, so it says, there is no exquisite beauty without some strangeness in the proportion. It's actually an Edgar Allan Poe quote. Unity was this one. Unity does not mean sameness, it means oneness of purpose. And then quarter two starts. And quarter two, our weekly journals became freeform. We were allowed to do whatever we wanted. I don't know if this is nearly zoomed in enough because I can't really zoom in much without losing some space. This is a sketch, a pencil and watercolor sketch of my old front foyer, and then these little bubbles is just little journals of what I'm doing. Like this is when I was creating my new icon. I had ideas, and then I also have notes of like, this was the basement door that has a chain on it. This was the closet that went to the kitchen and living room, and it was a fun thing. Lines, we had to do 100 lines. This is when we got into our function project. We had 4 black and white pieces we had to do. Personal, social, religious/spiritual, and I don't know what the 4th one was. This was personal. It was done in acrylics. This was a free visual journal. I rushed it a whole lot. This was social, and this is using a quote from Blood in the Water. No, this is a quote from, what's it called? It's from Grandson. I'm trying to remember what it's called. No Thoughts, No Prayers, where the song goes, the silent are damned, the body count is on your hands. And since it was social, and since a lot of things were happening, these are the silent people. They can hide behind their money or their identities and can afford to just not say anything. And these are different groups that have been hurt. This is religion. Specifically, I call it Muslim and Jewish persecution. This is the LGBT community. These 3 are police brutality. These are children in a school, and these are children in cages at the border. In the background is my own rant. I like how it came out, and I think it had a good message. If you are silent, you are complicit. This was another free visual journal one. I can't read. What does it say? There's no use in pretending flaws can be avoided. We are human, it is in our nature. However, we've gone beyond mild flaws. It's more than that. It's grown to a numbing ignorance, a display of the worst greed and hatred humanity has to offer. It's consumed us, poisoned us. The sins truly are deadly. We're doomed unless the sinners are tried and sentenced, and until we learn to not live in greed. This was personal journaling, again, me being edgy, but I like to talk about the sins and stuff. This was the spiritual function, and here is Baphomet, representing Lucifer and then Mother Nature. In life, there are many paths. You'll make friends to guide you, but it's up to you to open a door. And this was just me kind of trying to say, like, religion and spirituality, especially alternative ones, like, they're there. Like, these other deities, these other beings, these other spiritual paths are there, and you can make as many friends as you want within those paths, but it's up for you to really open the door and let yourself into it. I really like how I designed Mother Nature, and you'll see I revisit this later, because I tried to incorporate, you know, the sky and, you know, plant matter, but also the ocean. And here we get into my story ideas. This was weekly 1, which I just plopped them all together. How to Kill an Era, Earth Reborn, It's Rough, and Oddball. And these are where I go into depth about each one. Let me check my battery. It won't let me. Oh well. It's Rough is a one-off graphic novel I had based on a dream I had a while back. It was a very depressing dream. All I remember is, like, taking, like, not persona, but, like, the first-person view of some character that might have been me, but might have not been me, and it was just really depressing, like, whole self-harm, hated life, wholeheartedly suicidal one. And what I saw in those dreams were my friends were essentially the humanized version of the FNAF cast. And I don't talk about my dreams often, but it's a common theme. I will find video game characters, TV show characters. I will find myself either as myself self-inserted in or as one of the characters. But it's stuff, weird, crazy dreams like that, which I have often, that I turn into story ideas like this. So It's Rough would be a very adult graphic novel where it follows Alex and their pursuit of the career in the fine arts. And this page, by the way, is on Tumblr under this tag if you want to, like, read everything. And they are fresh out of art school, moved into a new town, and just trying to, you know, make it in the art world while very much struggling with their identity, their relationships, their own depression. And they make some new friends. Francis, which would be a love interest eventually. There's Bryce, who's the musician. Francis, I hadn't decided his job. He has switched around a bunch. And these are the Wilson siblings. Frederick and Carrie. I think I might have changed her name. But Frederick owns Freddy's, a bar and restaurant. And then these are some of the art Alex does. Alex does a lot of watercolor and likes drawing water and bathtubs. Like, I looked up a lot of, like, bathtub drawings and watercolor drawings, and they're very pretty on Pinterest. How to Kill an Era was another free form, and it follows. I named her. Her name used to be Inca, but her name is Alva. And the reason her name used to be Inca is because I used to do role plays with my ex on various fandoms. And one of our favorite things to do was occasionally, well, for Cuppin in particular, we made self-inserts. And my self-insert was Inkwell, a half Inkwell person. And another thing we like to do with our role plays is create alternate universes. So we had a lot of human universes, but we also had, this was specifically the medieval fantasy universe. And, like, that king was supposed to be King Dice, and this would be the devil. But it took on, but what really drew me to it was the story behind it, which was the new king, like, the first scene, like, I guess, prologue to this book is the new king and the devil were burning. Alva walks into the capital of this kingdom. The castle is on fire because the new king, a former slave, and the devil had teamed up to kill the old king and queen and essentially start the kingdom from scratch. This, who currently remains unnamed, you can see I brainstormed here. This king was, very broken by the fact that, he was enslaved. His mother died in slavery. His mother had died in slavery. All his family and friends were slaves. And finding a book that gave him access to the devil became, a friend to his. And it just slowly grew into this thing of, he just wants something done about this. Because, former uprisings and whatnot just weren't working. So, this was their drastic plan. And this is a book. This would be like a genuine novel series. I would imagine be maybe a trilogy in an ideal world. And no, Alva's the main character, but, the king and the devil are also main character series from Alva's perspective. The whole series revolves around society and how to make, and sort of, how do I phrase it? How to build a better society, especially one that was built on slavery, on class oppression, on, preconceived notions of people. And it explores this morality that is very much gray. All of the characters, the main characters that I have introduced, are very, very gray, morally gray. The devil, obviously, the devil rules hell. The king, although wholeheartedly really does get a pass to murder his oppressors, murder is still murder, and that is why he is looked down upon. Alva, at first denies taking any sort of responsibility for some of their actions and, what they could do to help it. But all these novels are supposed to not only explore this very magical medieval world, but explore how you're supposed to grow into a better person, into a better society, and the complication that comes from this, because, and that's why it's called How to Kill an Era. Even though they've essentially started a new era, it's not built overnight. It doesn't get better overnight, and, it takes a lot of growth. And I honestly really love these characters, and I want to do this novel with them, as you can see. And then, the cover for the first book would be the crown dripping in blood. So what I forgot to mention here is, tying into Alex's love for bathtubs, is a bathtub that spreads up into a city scenery in a night sky, and there's, water, paint, and blood dripping into it. It's rough, sort of comes out of it. This was made on New Year's. Just filmed at Spire after Disney World. Earth Reborn, an oddball. Earth Reborn was another dream I had where I don't remember much. Sorry, I have to clear my throat a lot. Allergies, congestion, really kicks my butt. I had another dream where, I'm trying to remember, but I remember Lucifer, or, not the actual Lucifer, but whatever my brain decided to come up to be Lucifer, was basically pulled me up, sort of, kind of talking to me in my house, like, hey, come outside. And my family's like, what the fuck? And I'm like, okay. And he's trying to tell me these things, but I don't remember the details, but I remember being like, no, I'm gonna go with him. I like him. And my family's like, you're talking to a demon? You're agreeing with the demon? Long story short, I just remember, so jumping off my old balcony, spreading my wings, and, flying down into the woods. We had our property, had a little indent into the woods I can go into, and I was running into that with my family, freaking out, coming after me, like, what in the world are you doing? What? And Mother Nature was there, and she's saying, hey, I'm about to lose my shit. I'm about to go apeshit on this earth to reclaim it because you humans are crap, lowkey. I'm gonna put you in this tree so that way you can be kept out of harm's way until it's done. And I'm like, okay. And then I woke up because it was a swim night. didn't know how to process that dream at all. But I thought it made a really, really cool story idea. So here's Ren, my protagonist, who does exactly that. Ren and their 3 friends, including this dude who I've yet to name, are all pagan friends who hang out a whole lot. And one time while they're hanging out in the woods together, they are confronted, and they're basically said, hey, over the next year, nature's going to rise up and reclaim. And it is going to change everything. Each of your deities are going to come to you and want you to do different things over the course of this year while this is happening. And Ren, a pagan who follows solely Mother Nature, was told, here's your tree, and there's a tree by this area in the woods where they all hang out. It was actually Mother Nature's tree. They had all set up a tree to the respective deities. I want you to go sit. Here's grab a box, pack up some important stuff to you, come back tomorrow, get in the tree. You were going to sleep for a year while it's over because I need you to be in this tree as my way of holding you and keeping you safe. This character, a male character, but also non-binary, is a Satanist and follows Lucifer Satan, and over the course of a year became more demonic-like. And Ren, it picks up, the story basically starts Ren waking up from the tree and basically going, in this new world where nature has reclaimed everything, there's new species, nature has sort of grabbed every building, finding old friends and finding what the hell to do. Because she was essentially in a coma for a year. They were essentially in a coma for a year, woke up and, no, I have horns, I have wings, what is happening? And this is a graphic novel series called Earthborn. And the first story is called To Survive You Must Change. And it's supposed to really explore just very teenage emotions of, here's a new world, good luck. Which is what, being thrown into the deep end is what a lot of people feel sometimes, especially when they're going into high school or going into college, because it's just like a new world. And it was also very much supposed to focus on, hey, environmentalism. Nature's forces, the religious, spiritual forces in this world, aren't exactly happy with what humanity's done for it. And because in this universe there really wasn't much a successful effort to get stuff done, it was all shot down. Basically, Mother said, to hell with it, you're going to listen, and we're doing this the hard way now. And I need to work on these characters because I think it could be really cool. Oddball was another dream I don't remember a whole lot of. Basically, I took the form of who is now Claude, new in town, invited. Oh, look at this nice manor on the hill. I'll go visit. Oh no, I fell into this dungeon pit basement. This eldritch monstrosity is trying to chase me. Oh no. The townspeople just found out, and also hates the fact there's this eldritch monstrosity, and they're trying to kill you. And we have some sort of talking out. Oh no, I'll help you. Oh, I kind of like you. So I kind of turned to this, and I kind of just built characters off of this, and I really, really want to figure out a cohesive plot for it, because I don't. My plan really is, here's a guy, here's another guy. They talk a little bit. They get married. Because I just want something cute. That's a graphic novel idea. Quarter 3 starts. The dream that inspired this was a lot more graphic, bloody, and full-on, bizarre horror than what I created it into. Because, this character, and you recognize these characters if you saw my other sketchbook tour, it was inspired by somebody I found while walking through the halls of this dark, decrepit school, essentially nailed to the wall looking across, but, vibed with it, did not care he was stuck to a wall, and it's like, oh, hey, you're new here, What's your name? Where'd you come from? Oh, you're looking for this classroom? Down the hall to the left. Have fun. But the story for this is Claire, normal girl, gets invited and say, hey, we at Salos High see you're very impressive. We would like to give you a week here with you and your parents, permission. Try a week here at Salos High, and if you like being at this high school and the opportunities we present to you, we would invite you to stay. And the entire week is basically her going, what the fuck, what the fuck, what the fuck? Because she keeps just seeing bizarre things. It's eternally dark at this school. Like, the sun's supposed to be in the sky. It's like early sunrise all around. It's foggy. It's out of the way. She's never heard of it, even though this giant school she probably should have seen before. Each and every one of the students are bizarre. This one's bleeding. The principal's a demon. Teachers have eyes on the back of their head. Like, spell casting is a genuine class being held here. She's very confused, very tired. And this one-off graphic novel was honestly just her week there. And I don't know how I wanted to end it, but I figured it'd be a really fun chance to just explore creepy stuff without needing or wanting a whole lot of, like, subtext and commentary. It's just some magical, creepy fun. And yes, Salos is the name of an actual demon. This is his sigil. This was the drawings in here. I put exactly 0 effort. I think this was the 4th function. And you can tell I put 0 effort into it. I didn't care. This was my FNAF The Silver Eyes redraw. I turned it into a weekly because 1, I could, and 2, I like this sketchbook for its paper. It's gotten paint on it since then. But, it worked well. I think the project's almost finished. The original deadline, I think, was April? No, the original deadline was June. But because COVID threw a wrench into everybody's schedules and mental health, it was pushed. That was considered a soft line, and the hard deadline, it was end of July. So I think it should be done and being wrapped up soon. My friend Scatter Patter hosted this. My bad. He gave us a list of prompts, and we had to pick 3. We were going to do with a primary, secondary, and tertiary, or intermediate color scheme, based on, like, some very not artist emotions, but artist emotions. The artist project. This first one was Envision, and this is actually tempera paint, so it has a chalkier cat texture. And I just did a bunch of eyes. This was secondary. This was expression. I really like how this came out because I like gore, and this was a fun chance. Just, expression really is exposing yourself. The witches and their son. These are just 3 random characters I had. It was inspired off of a fun little game me and my ex did with my little brother after he came out of the bath. Once he came out of the bath, I wrapped him in his brown towel, and I went, my little Russian lady, because, Vine was still alive, and, well, not even alive, thriving. Vine was just still relevant, and my little brother absolutely loved it. So he'd always want us to put the towel around him and go, my little Russian, give me some beats! He'd always yell out about the beats, like he was obsessed with it. And I'm like, oh, that's cute. And then I instantly got the idea of this cross-dressing Russian guy who cross-dresses to get into town specifically to help these 2 witches that have basically adopted him. And I don't know, it was just an adorable thing. Clash of the Crimes. Remember Inca being, oh no. Right, oh no indeed. Because not only did my sister walk into my room, but the clip I recorded afterwards got corrupted. So here I am, like 2 days later, having to record this again. I'm not happy about it. Anyway, where were we? Actually, let me turn on the light. This is Clash of the Crimes. Remember Inca being a self-insert? Yeah, this is one of the human AUs, and we called this AU, I believe, the criminal AU, because we wanted something daring and action-packed for as much as it could be. Lucifer is now Isaiah, but Lucifer and Kingsley's thing was that they had a casino. I think I named it the Lucky Star Casino. I might rename that. I probably should rename that. But they had like this whole underground drug thing going on, I guess. Blackmail. I don't know. I think it's underground drug and blackmail, bribery stuff. The girl that was being paired with Katie was just a master of identity fraud, essentially. And Inca, who keeps their name as Inca Schmitz here, is on the not more wholesome side of crime, if you can say that, but the least, I guess, I don't know, probably the least malicious and hurtful of them all. Their thing is, because their thing was mainly graffiti. They go by Sly, and one of their things is that, you know, they're a little bit of an adrenaline junkie, or at least they just, I don't know, they just like basically doing something big just because they can. So they would, you know, put a decent sized like full graffiti piece, you know, on the side of a building that has a heavy traffic area, that, you know, should a scandal happen in the news or whatnot, they would, you know, definitely put up a graffiti piece about it. And their other thing was, along with their friends, Nikki's the only friend of theirs I've developed, Nikki and some other friends, they have a heavy interest in dance and parkour. The parkour part of it turns into those trespassing challenges. There was a phase I went through where I just couldn't stop watching these videos of people trespassing onto, you know, essentially, you know, trespassing on the private part and then literally parkouring away from when security's like, hey, you can't be here. There's videos on people on top of rooftops. There's people, you know, breaking into amusement parks after closing and hanging out after there. All stuff I cannot condone, but still very interesting to watch. And that's basically them. They, you know, they have no malicious intent when it comes to like breaking into malls after, you know, after hours and whatnot. They just, hey, I can do it. I can and I will. And Nikki's gonna record it. But the actual storyline for this is Inca's like, hey, guys, friends, let's do something bold. Let's do something on the side of this casino here. Something big. Not even necessarily related to gambling or the casino itself. Just something big and ballsy. And they did that, and it was a whole little operation, essentially, because Inca and their friends had to distract the right people to, you know, not have notice. Well, it took them a little bit to get this piece up. Isaiah essentially hates this once he finds it, because what the heck, that he treats this casino as his baby, and he hates it, but he can't do anything about it because nobody saw the person. Nobody saw like a clear face of the person who did it, and you know, they really can't connect the people that were distractions to it. A few days go by. Isaiah's in, I guess, one of those back areas, you know, trail or like urban trails where there's a lot of, you know, old brick where people regularly put graffiti on and nobody really cares that they do. And I think the original plan was to have him making like a shady drug deal or something, but for all intents and purposes he's just walking along, and he notices the graffiti artist, doesn't pay too much attention to them because that's a normal sight, until he realizes, oh, wait a second, it's the same person from the casino. And he goes to confront them. At first, you know, Inca plays it cool, I don't know what you're talking about. And when, you know, Isaiah actually threatens, you know, like, dude, I want you to, you know, with any sort of criminal action or just, hey, clean it up next time, you know, it doesn't amount to much because Inca's like, no, can't prove it, can't prove it's me, and parkours away. Well, not literally, but maybe. But whatever altercation happened between the two, Inca's like, hey guys, remember that casino we bombed? How about we go just hang out on the roof, you know, like we're not supposed to for a bit? Because Inca's entire mantra in this universe is be gay, do crimes, and yes, I will cause problems on purpose. You know, Isaiah actually catches them this time, and with like actual, like, real consequences on that they could be charged with. You know, Inca's like, can't we just strike out a deal? And Isaiah's like, fine, work in this casino, clean up your mess, all the messes you've done around here, and behave. And Inca's like, all right, sure, because they were roommating with Nika. Yeah, they were roommates with Nikki, so and they didn't have like the best job in terms of money, although it was fun. So it was honestly worked out for the best. Honestly, worked out for the best of them, and then it's just rom-com style. Oh no, I'm gonna pine and fall in love. The details in this universe really needs to be worked out if it ever becomes like a young adult novel, but I like it. This was the third piece in the artist's journey or whatever, Engage and Persist. This was finished, I think, just as quarantine was started, so I was losing my steam once I got into quarantine. And it's supposed to be how, like, if you create a piece of art, people will look at it and it will persist within them with these ideas or whatever. Gotta make sure it's in frame, because when I was editing, a lot of things were just not. After all my story ideas, I sent, you know, my weeklies became just random stuff. This is sort of accepting my own androgyny and my non-binary identity, and really embracing the fact that, you know, I am very hairy. I have a lot of body hair. I've been teased for my mustache from my family, but I don't care because you know, it helps me embrace my non-binary identity. I like it. This was a devotional piece to Lucifer. The reason why it says Lucifer and Satan is because I consider them, you know, just two sides of the same coin, just referred to differently. He's just referred to differently based on how people are perceiving him in that moment, this sort of thing. God, my anatomy sucked. But I liked what I was going for. And then devotional piece to Mother Nature. You can see I had to simplify her dress a lot, but I kept like all the earthly things in her hair, from like flowers and fauna to like streams and clouds and the ocean. It was great. This is the alchemy symbol for earth, and these are the alchemy symbols for fire, water, air, and earth respectively. The element earth and then like the planet earth are two separate. And then the last one for the artist process was reflection, and this was, I know this for a fact, was finished in quarantine, and I just, you know, I didn't care if it turned out bad. I wasn't feeling it. This is the official start of fourth quarter. My first weekly, it just got very angsty because of, you know, the frustration building with, you know, the school's last quarter being online, and also just the political unrest. But after that, I really struggled with ideas. So I decided, for the rest of my weeklies, I should do song lyrics. And wouldn't you know it, 1312 was going around TikTok for, you know, reasons. And I was like, okay, this song's kind of neat. So I had like a bunch of statistics here, explanations, blah, blah, blah. And then I had like 2 other weeklies, and you can see this is the one that uses blood in the water lyrics. Money won't solve it. What's your alibi? And here was gonna pay a bunch of problematic rich people, but I just, at the end of the quarter, I just was not feeling any sort of school-related things. I technically didn't have to do any work. I was still going to pass. They had adjusted grading. And I just, hi dog barking, I just didn't have the motivation to do anything. And I kind of just got stuck in a rut. And you can see I was supposed to fill up these two, and you know, all these pages were blank. I think I'll pull them out and have a bee scrap paper or something to glue in later. For my, I know for my AP art next year, even though we're starting on one, I think I'm gonna use a separate, I'm not gonna start a new one. I have another one that barely was started, another sketchbook, and I'll use that because there's not enough room. I don't think there's gonna be enough room here. I don't know how much we're doing in AP art, but who knows. Anyway, that's my drawing and design stuff. The next clip is going to be the visual portfolio, the online portfolio my teacher had us made, because he's really into, ooh, you guys should know how to do all this stuff online. And for being like a fairly old guy, he's actually, and struggles with technology a little bit, he has the right mindset. Learning how to put these things in a digital sense is very, very crucial if you're going to be a artist in the long term in this technology-based world. And the importance of that is not only so you can see that, but I have all these pieces, a lot of the pieces in here have their own captions and explanations to them. They have links to either speed paints or inspiration. And there's there's one project in there, my auto sculpture project, I really, really want you guys to see, because it was my baby. I loved it. I poured my heart and soul into it. And I'm really sad I don't have it, because it is timeless for me. That is a piece of art I am always gonna like. So, going to that clip. Okay, here is the digital portfolio I was talking about. This art teacher, it's the same one I had freshman year, if you remember that sketchbook flip through, if I did one for that. So what he likes to do is he likes us to have a digital portfolio and compile all our stuff in here. And at the beginning of junior year, he was like, every piece of art you've done since the last class you've had with me, which was for me 2 years beforehand, put it in here. We will sort it out later. And so I originally did, but I cut a bunch of that down. And I'll have this portfolio linked. The introduction is just, you know, stuff. But yeah, oh yeah, I did a flip through, and I, like, let's see, what's here? Art-wise, my sophomore year was protective, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, sophomore year I had a different teacher, so I didn't have a digital portfolio, but I did have a sketchbook tour of that. These are the videos, and these are the breakdowns of what my art-related videos are. That was my animation I did freshman year. That was my Art 2 class. This was a commission I got to decorate a teacher's classroom in an elementary school. We made this tree out of the craft paper they had. It was beautiful. It was pretty. And then I wrote, this is the kindness tree. It's great. Oh, here's the devil and Alva, back when I called Alva Inca. And like I said, all of, like, my art is in here. I don't know what was with the lighting. I probably was trying to do it, like, the night before. I had to turn in, the portfolio with all the art, whatever. These are, so you see, I have it broken down. Like, these are studies, these are character designs, this is mixed media art, and each and every, like, this is a video. This is also a video. I'll have to find one later. Okay, that. Anatomy practice. These are just all the different ways you can sort pictures. Although this makes it cropped really weird. Go forward. More sketches, more portraits. This was inspired by Scotch tape. If you know his art, either
through his animation here on YouTube or his Twitter, he does these very vibrant portraits, and I love it. Fantasy environment, and this is all my junior stuff. I linked the autobiography he had us write. These are all the sketches. Like, you can see, I break down what my process and my thought on each and every one. No. And for these, I link some of my inspiration. Here's three different John Beckley pieces. Texture. This was inspiration by Barbara Van Gorp, who I've mentioned before. Art journaling, done. Shape. No! I struggle with internet. Do I have any other links in these? Yeah, and I only got up to the... Oh, here's a speed paint link here. Practice in my foyer. Socio-political charge in this one. You can... I wrote down a lot because I like writing a bit. Story skills. That's the collection. These are... Yeah, I know these are tiny, but these, like, explain, you know, my ideas for some of these. Like, I go on about how Arthur Warren deals with themes of nature, relationships, morality, purpose, and, let's see, how to kill an era, young adult novels, series with the harsh realities of racism, sexism, homotransphobic issues, also providing commentary on how society deals with massive change. Ideally, it'd be a 3-book series, although it'd be a novel. The chapter pages will feature black and white drawings of the characters in a scenario done in the pen and ink style, because that's what that story has that aesthetic for. This one would be lighthearted, about recovery, identity, and finding love. Now, here's the sculpture. The sculpture was to take we had to make a box, or have a box, and it was going to be about us and our relationship with sort of like society as well. So I chose a book, and this is the outside of it. As you can see, this is the world and what projects. I have 2 old earbuds that broke. The black painted wood is the world going in. The gold is, you know, sort of my own world in it. As you can see, I have, you know, rainbow flag here, non-binary flag here. I mentioned here it says, like, my pronouns, I'm non-binary, but you see it's covered up. So is the fact that, you know, I have this rainbow flag. So is, you know, my thoughts on society in general, and its cruelty, and the environment. It's all covered up with, you know, greed, discrimination, all of this. Well, and that's, you know, that's the outside of the book. That's society, where, you know, well, I think you can listen if you want, you know, stuff like that. The inside was we had to include 5 found objects in here. I have marbles. I had painted a key, a broken necklace, another broken necklace right here, the earbuds, and that's a leaf right there. Like, there's a couple leaves in here. And it says, I may be an open book, but that doesn't mean I'll let you in. Plus, there's a lot to unpack here. The breakdown of this is supposed to mean, like, I'm an open book. I am very readily open to tell you just about anything about myself, to a point where it was a bad fault. I have since toned it back, but I'm still willing to be very open about things. But just because I'm willing to be open doesn't mean I'll always let you in on my problems. Like, the paper here covers, you know, the book. All of these things mean different things. It's covered by paint and, you know, the thoughts of things coming in, you know, these threads of society. And specifically mentioned here is, if you won't respect my pronouns, what else about me won't you respect? Because, especially when I make this, I'm dealing, even currently, I deal with the fact that being a non-binary person and only using you know, that alone, and then only using they, them pronouns, I get a lot of crap for it. And my sort of defense for it, like, quote unquote defense nowadays is, if I know you won't respect my pronouns, and just the most bare basic thing of, hi, my name is Sloan, I use they, them pronouns. If you won't even respect that, I'm not gonna trust you to respect much else about me. And you can see bits of it in here. I have fabric with pentacles on them to represent, you know, my magical spiritual side. I have journalings and writings, although they're not actually journal. I think I use scrap paper. But, you know, internal thoughts, my love and passion. I'm pretty sure these golden orbs, which are hidden, like one is hidden up here and one is hidden over here, are supposed to represent, you know, different dreams and passions I have. Like, if you could, I really just like this piece, and I poured my heart and soul into it. And I'm really sad I don't have it. I also really like how this splits. It splits evenly in half. And my art teacher said he was going to get the, I think, carpentry or welding teacher, I forget which one, to encase it in a plexiglass box so it could actually be displayed when we have our art show at the end of the year as like a proper thing. Of course, the show never happened. I also don't have this, but I want it back, and I want to display it, and I want to keep it. And, like, my other project isn't even on here because I didn't get a chance to take pictures of it. It was just a step stool we painted in this Montreal pattern. It's the Primary Colors dude who did, like, the red, blue, yellow, white, and black style, just boxes and stuff. We had to find a piece of furniture and paint it. I chose this wooden step stool that's been in my house for forever. It's actually something my older brother made in Boy Scouts or something, and I painted that. And, like, my mom thought that would be really cool. Oh, something your older brother made, now you're painting it, and now it's stuck at school, and I don't know if I'm gonna get it. I can't get it back till whenever the heck we decide to go off of online learning and back into school. And we had this 9-box project inspired by another artist. I can't remember. But I was working on that too, and I thought that was coming along pretty nicely too, but then I didn't even get to take it home to work on, so yeah, Corona really threw a wrench into everything. But from the art I did do in class, and, you know, the inspiration it did give me, I'm proud of it. And I guess I'll be ending this video here because I already know it's long, very, very long. So I will say that, you know, any video, I think I should be able to go back and, you know, add a little card for link of any videos to the things I've mentioned here. I will add this sway in the description. Other than that, I think that covers everything. Have a good day, night, whatever, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!